Burn the boats, and build the life you were meant for. They told you to have a backup plan. They told you to keep one foot in comfort, one foot in safety, one foot in the familiar. But greatness was never born on a divided path. Burn the boats, because when there's no way back, the only direction left is forward, and forward is where the life you were meant for is waiting. Do you think Alexander the Great built an empire because he had a second option? Do you think Edison gave up after failure? Number 10. How about after failure? Number 3000. No, because men who change the world don't leave themselves the luxury of retreat. They commit fully, completely, unapologetically, and they do it with a fire in their chest that cannot be extinguished, because they've already burned the escape route. They've made the decision, not the hope, not the wish, the decision to live the life they were born to live, or die trying. That's the energy you need now, not another motivational video, not another someday plan, not a backup dream, not a safety net woven by fear. You don't need a parachute. You need wings. Wings that only grow after you jump. And yes, it will terrify you. It's supposed to. Because what you fear losing is the very thing you were never meant to hold on to. The world will try to seduce you with comfort. It will offer you just enough money, just enough pleasure, just enough acceptance. To keep you numb, to keep you still, to keep you small. But something inside you knows this isn't it. You were not built for lukewarm living. You were not born to chase someone else's script. You are not here to repeat yesterday. You are here to create, to stretch, to break through. You are here to build the life you were meant for. And that life does not live inside the comfort zone. Ask Lincoln if purpose comes easy. Ask Carnegie if wealth is ever found without vision. Ask Mandela if freedom is handed to those who sit and wait. They'll all tell you the same thing. You must give everything to become the person you were born to be. Not just your time, not just your effort, but your excuses, your distractions, your past. And that takes courage most people never tap into. Why? Because they never burn the boats. They keep retreat close. They whisper, if it gets too hard, I can always go back. But here's the truth most won't tell you. That mindset is the reason they fail. The only way to rise is to remove the option to fall back. Let this be the moment you become non-negotiable. Let this be the moment you stop treating your dream like a hobby. Let this be the moment you decide, I will build this life. No matter the cost, no matter the pain, no matter how many storms I have to walk through. Because the storms were never your enemy. They were the test, the forge, the sacred fire that melts who you were, so you can emerge as who you were meant to become. So many talk about destiny, but few ever decide to meet it. Because meeting destiny requires a level of commitment most people aren't willing to give. It requires sacrifice. It requires obsession. It requires waking up every single day and saying, no one is coming to save me, so I will save myself. That's the difference between the dreamers and the doers. One imagines, the other bleeds. And you were not born to fantasize from the sidelines. You were born to play in the arena. To get dirty, to get hit, to fall, and rise, and fall again, and keep rising. Because something in your soul is louder than the noise. Something in you still believes that greatness is not reserved for the lucky. It is built by the bold. And here's the brutal truth. You don't get to have the results without paying the price. You don't get to look like success on the outside until you feel like hell on the inside. And still keep going. You think Ford didn't have nights where the factory felt more like a failure than a vision. You think Oprah didn't have a moment where the pain screamed louder than the dream. They all did, but they kept going, because they had burned the boats. They knew, this is it. This is the path. There is no next plan. There is only this, or I die chasing it. That's where your power lives. Not in the comfort of waiting. Not in the illusion of perfection. Not in the hesitation of, what if it doesn't work? It lives in the fire of full commitment. The kind of commitment that makes people uncomfortable around you. The kind of hunger that makes average minds nervous. The kind of focus that makes the world whisper. He's changed. She's not the same. Good. You weren't meant to be the same. You were meant to outgrow the old you. The one who made excuses. The one who procrastinated. The one who stayed silent when the world needed their voice. That version is gone. You've got to kill it before it kills the life you were born to live. Every time you doubt, remember this. You weren't given the vision by accident. You were entrusted with it. The world is full of people living quiet lives of desperation. Men who never acted. Women who never spoke up. Souls who knew they were made for more, but couldn't face the fire long enough to step into it. You are not them. You are the few who will. You are the rare who chooses the pain of purpose over the comfort of regret. You are the kind that makes history. Not because you were smarter. Not because you were luckier. But because you were willing to burn every bridge to your old life and build a new one from ash and willpower. There's a warrior inside of you. But that warrior has been caged by doubt, starved by distractions, chained to routine. It's time to set it free. Because you can't half commit to greatness. You either go all in, or you stay where you are and die a slow death of what could have been. And there is no pain more bitter than unrealized potential. Absolutely. Continuing the same emotionally intense, cinematic flow. Most people don't fail because they weren't capable. They fail because they never fully decided. They never made that gut-deep, soul-burning, non-negotiable declaration. This is who I am now. And this is what I'm building. Period. They dip their toes in the water of their dream. But they never dive. Because diving requires drowning the old self. It requires sacrificing the opinions of others. It requires walking alone, misunderstood, with nothing but your belief to keep you company in the dark. But hear this. You do not need permission to become unstoppable. You do not need applause to begin. You do not need guarantees. Because you are the guarantee. You are the asset. You are the investment. You are the builder and the architect and the fire that fuels it all. No mentor can give you that. No course can replace it. No motivation will last unless you become the force behind it. And you will only become that force when you've got no way back. That's why you burn the boats. Because when there's no retreat, the warrior awakens. It's not about being reckless. It's about being all in. Mind, body, soul, pointed at one single vision. And that vision has to be so clear, so vivid, so real in your mind, that the world bends around it. Because your mind is the first battlefield. Win there, and the rest of the world follows. Edison once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Now, understand what that means. He had already burned the boats in his mind. There was no, if I fail. Only, when I figure it out. That's belief. Not hope. Belief. The kind that cannot be negotiated. The kind that doesn't flinch when others laugh. The kind that rises after 100 defeats and says, "Let's go again." You can't fake that. You earn that. In the silence. In the early mornings when no one's watching. In the rejection letters. In the empty bank accounts. In the long nights where the dream seems farther than ever. You earn it in the trenches. And you cash it in when the world finally sees what you always knew was coming. That's what this life demands of you. To believe before there's proof. To keep going without validation. To act as if the success has already been written in stone. Because the truth is, it has. It's written in the decisions you make today. In how you show up. In how you speak to yourself when it gets hard. In whether or not you cut off every exit and say, "I didn't come this far to turn around. I came to conquer." Let this echo in your mind. Burn the boats. Burn the doubts. Burn the stories. Burn the version of you that was waiting for perfect timing. Burn the idea that you need to be chosen. You already were. The moment you were born with a mind, a vision, a fire. You were chosen. But now it's time to choose yourself. To look at the mirror and say, "This is the line in the sand. This is the moment everything changes. I'm not dipping my toe in anymore. I'm diving into the deep. And I will swim until I reach the life I was meant for. Or I die trying." Because that's the level of decision required to change everything. And the best part, once you do, the world shifts. Doors open. People appear. Resources find you. Not because they were missing. But because you finally became the person who attracts them. You don't get what you want. You get who you are. And if who you are right now is someone who still waits, still wonders, still hesitates, then you haven't stepped into the identity of the builder yet. The life you want isn't hiding from you. It's waiting for you to evolve. Waiting for you to rise to its frequency. Waiting for you to become the kind of person who doesn't wish for change, but demands it, with every breath. Listen closely. Your dream has a cost. And that cost is everything that isn't aligned with it. The laziness, the fear, the distractions, the gossip, the late nights scrolling and the early mornings skipped, the need for validation, the obsession with what others think. Burn it all. Burn it so completely that there's nothing left but vision, fire, and forward motion. Because as long as your past has weight, your future will have chains. You must sever the cord. Cut ties with every version of yourself that said, maybe, someday, when I'm ready. You are ready. Not because everything's perfect, but because you decided to be. Greatness isn't born from certainty. It's born from courage. And courage is not the absence of fear. It is the mastery of it. Every legend you admire walked with fear. But they walked anyway. They spoke with trembling voices. They built with shaking hands. They moved forward with no applause, no promise, and no path. Except the one they carved with discipline, resilience, and relentless faith. You don't rise by accident. You rise when you refuse to sit back down. When life hits you and you stand up again. And again. And again. Until standing becomes your instinct. Until grit becomes your nature. Until vision becomes your language. And understand this. The world doesn't owe you anything. But it will reflect who you are. Show up small, and it will shrink. Show up hungry, and it will feed you. Show up powerful, and it will make room for you. But only when you burn the boats. Only when you take the kind of action that leaves no room for regret. Because regret will haunt you far louder than failure ever could. Failure will teach you. Regret will bury you. So ask yourself, which pain are you willing to live with? The pain of uncertainty, of sacrifice, of relentless effort, or the pain of watching life pass you by, while you sat back and waited for a sign? Here's your sign. You were meant to build, to create, to shape reality through intention and work. You weren't born to react. You were born to command. But commanding your life starts with commanding your mind. And that means you can't let fear drive anymore. You can't let the old beliefs run the show. You can't be the prisoner of thoughts passed down by people who never chased anything in their own lives. You need to reprogram. Start speaking the language of leaders. I am. I will. I become. Not, I hope. Not, I wish. Not, maybe one day. You need to talk to your mind like a general preparing for battle. Because every day is a battle. A battle against distraction, against comfort, against the voice that whispers, take it easy today. But you're not here for easy. You're here for legacy. And no legacy was built on convenience. Legacy is earned in the dark. When no one's clapping. When the alarm clock rings and your body begs for more sleep. But you rise anyway. When the world says, you're crazy. And you say, just watch me. That's where the difference is made. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Not when it's easy, but when you keep going after you've already been broken. Because pain isn't the enemy. Comfort is. Comfort seduces you. It whispers soft lies. You've done enough. You can slow down. No one will notice. But deep down, something in your soul does notice. Something in you aches when you play small. Because you weren't born for average. You weren't built to coast. You were born to climb. To rise. To own your space in this world. But claiming your life takes war. An inner war. Against the weak voice that wants to stay hidden. And the warrior voice screaming to break free. Which one will you listen to? Because the warrior inside you is real. It's been there since the beginning. Before the opinions. Before the failures. Before the fear. It's been waiting for you to stop asking for permission. And start giving yourself orders. Look back at every great creator, every visionary, every empire builder. They all reached a point where turning back was no longer an option. They made the choice. And then they cut the rope. No more comfort. No more fallback plan. No more, maybe. And that decision, that singular, terrifying, beautiful decision, became the moment that divided their life into two parts. Before they committed. And after they became unstoppable. That same moment is here for you now. It doesn't come with fireworks. It doesn't come with applause. It comes in silence. A whisper in the dark that says, let's go. No more waiting. No more excuses. Burn the boats. Burn the boats so completely that you can't even remember what playing small felt like. So completely that the only version of you left is the one who acts, moves, decides, creates. You will fall. You will fail. You will face seasons of confusion, chaos, and doubt. But if your foundation is built on purpose, You will never collapse. Because purpose doesn't fade. It gets louder. Especially when things fall apart. Especially when the world tests you. And it will test you. Because before life promotes you, it asks one question. How bad do you really want this? If your answer is anything but, more than I want to breathe, you're not ready yet. But if your answer is, test me, break me, push me, and I'll keep going, then congratulations. You are no longer part of the 99%. You've crossed over. You're in the rare space of creators, warriors, and builders. Those who decide, and then do. And here's the secret they won't teach you in school. You don't need permission to become powerful. You just need to decide you're done being powerless. That's it. That's the turning point. That's when the world begins to move in your favor. Not because it changed, but because you did. Because your energy now commands. Your eyes now speak purpose. Your voice now carries conviction. And that level of certainty, it's magnetic. It bends reality. It pulls people, ideas, opportunities, and momentum into your orbit. Not by chance, but by identity.